Today we're going to be discussing multi-step equations. So when I look at this is a lot to look at. So my first instinct is to do any distributive property. Why I want to do that first is so that way I'm left with just terms with an x attached or constants. So I see I have distributive property on this side of the equation. So I'm going to multiply 2 by both of my terms. And I'm going to bring down the left side of the equation. So I have 2 times 5x, which gives me 10x, and I have 2 times negative 7, which gives me negative 14. So now my equation says 3x plus 5 equals 10x minus 7. So now I'm going to combine like terms. We're going to start with my terms with the variable. So I can either subtract 3x or subtract 10x. I like to deal with positive numbers, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. That's going to leave me with 5 is equal to 7x minus 14. Now, I want to move my constant to the other side, so I'm left with just a coefficient and a variable. So I'm going to add 14 to both sides. I'm going to quickly just move that over to this side, so I have 19 equals 7x. So now I'm going to do my last step, which is to divide by 7 to get x by itself on both sides. And I'm going to leave this as an improper fraction. So my final answer for this equation would be 19 over 7 equals x. So let's take a look at another example. I have 8 plus 3x equals 3 times 7x plus 15. So what I'm going to do is start with my distributive property again. So I'm going to multiply both terms inside the parentheses by 3. So I have 8 plus 3x on my left side of the equation. That's come back down. So then I do 3 times 7x, I get 21x. And then I do 3 times 15, which gives me positive 45. So now I want to combine my like terms. So I'm going to start with my coefficient and variables. I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides. That will leave me with 8 equals 18x plus 45. So now what I want to do is I want to subtract by 45 on both sides. This will leave me with just my coefficient and my variable. So I do 8 minus 45, and that will give me negative 37 equals 18x. Now I'm going to do my last step, which is to divide by 18 on both sides. That will leave me with just my variable, which will leave me equal to negative 37 over 18. I know I can simplify that into a mixed number of negative 2 and 1/18, but we want to leave it as an improper fraction. This will help you when you get into algebra. And here's one more example of a multi-step equation. So I have 4 times inside the parenthesis 5 plus 2x parenthesis equals 21x minus 54. So again, what I want to do is start with my distributive property. I'm going to do that into both terms inside the parentheses. So I'm left with 20 plus 8x is equal to 21x minus 54. So now let's start combining like terms. So I can subtract 8x because I want to deal with positive numbers. So I'm left with 20 equals 13x minus 54. Now I can combine my constants. So I'm going to add 54 on both sides. That is going to leave me with 74 equals 13x. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by my coefficient. So I'm left with 74 over 13 equals x. So these are three different examples of multi-step equations. What you want to remember is if you have a distributive property, you want to start with that. Then you want to go into moving your combining like terms. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact your teacher.